What is good, my dudes? Welcome back to Storytime with the sassiest fairy you'll ever know. My name is Lorna, and after a long wait, I am back with some r/ChoosingBeggars. So without further ado, smash that subscribe button, sit back, relax, and let's get right into it. Please make this $150,000 app for me, for free. Posted by user The Littlest Chef. In the tech industry, the equivalent of exposure is equity, especially in app development. You get people who know absolutely jack shit about tech come up to you and basically say, "Hey, I have this really awesome idea, but have zero clue how to do it and not a single skill necessary to bring it to life. Want to work full-time for me for free for a couple of months, and I will give you 2% of the profits if it's successful so that I can make money off of your years of hard-learned skills?" Recently, I had some college kids come up to me. One was a graphic design major and one was a business major. They pitched me an easily $150,000 development cost app idea. They said they had plenty of interested developers. Talking to them, this seemed false. Funding and access to grants. They were super excited, and even though I could have easily demanded market rate or higher, I wanted to do them a solid. I told them exactly how much time and money they were looking at with the size of the app and the features they were looking for. I didn't want them to think I was trying to rip them off, and a lot of people don't realize how much time and money goes into making an app. I told them, despite all that, I would make the app for them for about $60,000 over the course of about 10 months, as I already have a job lined up to start in August and wouldn't have the time to donate my full attention to it. Plus, they were returning to school anyways in the fall. They replied, telling me that their idea is good enough that it'll be worth the equity, and they weren't willing to pay someone's salary despite entering into negotiations with me under the premise that they were willing to pay me salary. The kicker is that it wasn't even a very original idea, and after they came to me offering equity, I was able to find an article online that did a market analysis on how much it would cost to produce an app like theirs, and the article put it at $165,000 development costs. I linked them the article and told them to learn to code and make it themselves if they wanted it done for free. Like, no fucking kidding, man. Like, no. What? That's a lot of work. $165,000 developmental costs. Like, I just do it for free. You got time. Like, you got, who cares how much money you spent going to school trying to perfect your craft? But let's just say a big fuck you and you can just do all this for free. Maybe we'll pay you if we make some money. But until then, don't get your hopes up. No, fuck off, Karen. What is up, my dudes? How are you guys? I missed you so much. I hope this video doesn't sound like shit. It's gonna be a little experimental for a while with the new computer, and didn't save some of my settings. I don't know, the audio sounds a little bit different on this computer. I had to adjust the levels and stuff. So let me know in the comments below if it sounds awful. Please, just be nice about it. Don't be a dick. Just be like, it sounds a little this or something. Don't be like, oh my god, this whole video is just awful. Like, that's not constructive. Don't be a bitch. Alright, my dudes, let's get into the next story. But before I do, don't forget to smash that like button if you're enjoying it so far. Subscribe and turn on all notifications for future videos just like this one. My dudes, this next story is called Choosing Beggar Wants to Cut Our Tree, Then Ghosts, and then wants to increase the price. Posted by user ComicsBear1. Not my story, but my dad's. My parents' home sits on a small area with several old trees towering over it. Usually, it's no problem, but sometimes some of the trees die and have to be cut down. Once, 10 years ago, a group of roving tree cutters came around. You know the type. They go door to door in the neighborhood looking for work. Well, my dad used them once to cut down a couple of these trees, and they did a good job. Fast forward to the next year. Here they come again. Since Dad had used them once, did he have any other work for them to do? By this point, One of the larger trees was showing signs of passing on to the great forest in the sky, and so my dad pointed it out to them. After examining it, the queen of the tree troop quoted Dad a very good price and arranged for a day that they would come and cut it down, plus hauling it away. The day came and went. No sign of timber! The week continued. Old Hickory stayed on life support. Another week passed. We had the priest give the tree last rites, but no cutters. Well, we wrote it off as a lost cause. We hadn't given her any money, so no loss. However, after a little shy of 4 months, the woman showed back up. Yeah, she had decided after leaving that price that she had quoted was just too cheap. They hadn't been able to do it for that price. However, if he still wanted it done, then they could do it for a higher price. No mention of why it had taken them 4 months to contact him about this, by the way. Thankfully, I wasn't raised by a fool, and my dad calmly told her that he had changed his mind and the tree was staying. Later on, he used someone that was recommended by a friend to cut it down. To my knowledge, the band of lumber losers never came back. See, I don't get this. Because, if they're taking the lumber away, aren't they making money on that lumber? Or is it just does not, balance out the cost? I don't know. If you work in lumber and you understand what's happening here, let me know in the comments below. But it sounds super shady to me. Why would you quote a price if you can't honor it? I don't know, and especially taking 4 months. No, clearly, why would you even think you had a chance in hell of getting that person's business again when you just ghosted them for 4 months? No, get the fuck out of here, Nancy. All right, let's get into the next story, my dudes. This one is called Who Has Smokes? Oof, I don't like those. Posted by user Night-Menace. Literally just happened 19 hours ago. A coworker of mine is yelling across the office, asking if someone can give him a cigarette. There's an awkward silence for 10 seconds, and I tell him, I do, even though I know most of the people in my office are smokers. He comes over and tells me he doesn't want those. I regret offering, but I regret not bitch slapping him even more. Okay, story time. So I had a Kevin in my office, and unfortunately his name was Kevin. And he was a Kevin, really. Now that I think about it, I think he kind of was. But anyway, irrelevant. He would always, this guy would never say more than 2 words to me anytime he saw me, unless he was at a smokes. And then, it's you know my name. You come up to my desk, hey Lorna, hey, how's it going? How you doing? Dude, I know you don't care how I'm doing. You want to smoke, don't you? Oh, yeah, if you don't mind. You got one? No, I don't fucking got one. Get out of my fucking face. I don't have time for people like that. I don't mind. Sometimes when I'm walking down the street before a stranger would ask me, hey, you got an extra smoke? And if they were nice about it, sure, man, here you go. I'm not a dickhead, But if you're gonna, sit there, work in the same building as me, not even, a big building, and you're not even gonna, give me the time of day to say hi, ask me how I'm doing any other time, you're just gonna always just ask me for cigarettes every time you actually do open your mouth when you're in my vicinity? No. Fuck off. You got a job. Your position pays better than mine. Why the fuck don't you have cigarettes? You know what I'm saying? I'm ranting. Let's get into the next story, my dudes. Drop a comment below if you can relate. Cater everything for my birthday party and don't come. Posted by user Dino-Crunch-Berries. This is a story from my girlfriend. She's an extremely good cook, a lot in part to her upbringing. Her parents taught her how to make meals from an early age. She grew up vegetarian, so she learned how to make simple meals extraordinarily delicious. She lived with a meat-eating roommate for years. For about a year, she worked as a chef at an upscale cafe. A friend from college contacted her about catering a large-scale meal for about 10 people at her birthday party. She told my girlfriend that she should do it for free as her gift. Had she been willing to buy all of the food, I genuinely think that my girlfriend probably would have done it. Rather, She expected her to buy all of the food, including specifics such as sweet corn, back ribs, etc. And the icing on top of this proverbial shit cake is that this party for 10 people was her exclusive birthday party, and my girlfriend hadn't made the list. She could cater, but she was only allowed to the general birthday party prior to the special event, where the special meal would be served. It genuinely baffles me how people are so entitled, spoiled, and just plain stupid. This is like... I don't want to believe it. I really don't, but I know this is probably one of those stories that's true. Like, why would you ask somebody for a present and not even invite them? Especially one of, like, labor, like, and, oh my goodness. That's like an expensive present. You know what I'm saying? Like, why would you even think you're entitled to that when that person isn't even given, you know, an invitation to the birthday itself? Like, fuck, that's fucked. You don't need that kind of negativity in your life. Just cut that cord. Get it over with. Bye-bye. Guys, I've been, like, getting into fights constantly on social media lately. I'm going crazy. I've been going crazy with nothing to do. And then, like, so obviously you start flipping through social media and things are just fucking stupid right now. They're so stupid on social media right now. And I'm seriously considering just leaving all of social media and just hanging out on YouTube and Discord. But speaking of Discord, there's a community post I posted a little while back with a survey in it. If you guys haven't seen it, please do go find that post and fill out the survey. Some of you aren't aware that there is a Discord server. It's pretty low key. It's mostly just a chat zone. It's nothing fancy, and we intend to keep it that way. It's just for, you know, people with like-minded interests who want to meet new friends and shit like that. It's nothing fancy. So I have to say that because I had some people come in that were trying to overhaul the whole thing, and it's like, no, listen. I'm an adult. I don't need all that flu stuff. I mean, it's okay for other adults, but just I don't need it. Thank you. All right, my dudes, let's get into the last story of the day. This one is called Story About an Entitled Person and a Christmas Pageant, posted by user East River G3. Wow, my eyes are playing tricks on me, my dodes. Okay. First things first, there are a few things I could have done differently here. That I can assure you I take into account now. Everybody slips up once in a while. We'll get to that. This is kind of an interesting story I thought I'd share with people that is sort of a cross between an exposure story and an entitlement story. Being that the subject of this is music-oriented, there may be a few terms people are unaware of. I'll try my best to explain them. I also ramble a bit. Oh well, enjoy, I hope. No worries, my dudes. I'm a rambler too, obviously, because I'm talking in the middle of trying to read this story. Okay, alright, let's get it. I'm a musician and also a copyist/orchestrator. Copyists are people who take your handwritten, scribbled music, put it into a computer program, and make the nice, pretty sheet music that everybody uses. It's a little more involved than that, but that's the basic gist. Some work for bigger publishing companies. Some are more freelance-based, like me. So about a year and a half ago, a music director I'd worked with in the past contacts me and tells me he has 4 pieces of music that he would like me to clean. He explained that the person that engraved them, putting the handwriting music into the computer before, did a terrible job. Wrong rhythms, bad spacing, all around hard to read. They were 4 choir pieces, 4 voice parts, and piano, although 2 of them were lacking a piano part. More on this later. For some supposed Christmas pageant. I don't really care what the subject of the music is, but this seemed to be a pretty easy, straightforward job. Cleaning a score is usually easy money since it takes little work if you know what you're doing. Now, this person, who I'll call Jim, he's a character. I had sort of a kind of hate relationship with him from working with him in the past. He was difficult to work with and often encompassed all of the things people dislike in a music director. Rude, arrogant, disorganized, inconsistent, didn't read music well, threw his bandmates under the bus when he was called out by production for his mistakes. But given the circumstances I was in and how much we knew each other already, I really needed the money. So I offered him a flat rate of $140 at $35 a chart. He agreed and sent the charts over, which were quite messy as described. I got to work cleaning his scores, and by the end of the next day or so was finished. Like I thought, very easy work, and I had totally redone the scores with my own in-house templates in order to make them a bit more print-ready and readable. So I email him and tell him his scores are done and attach them for him to look over. This was my first mistake, and one that I definitely do not make anymore. You could say a very stupid mistake. But I gave somebody I had long prior working relationship the benefit of the doubt. But now I always add a watermark to drafts for people to look over, regardless of how well they know me. It's nothing personal, it's because of stories like these. Great, thanks, Jim says. Can you add a piano part to those two that don't have one? Uh-oh, I think. Now, there's a lot of variables here, and it's almost intentionally vague. Do I make up my own piano part? Does he want me to add a piano part that he wrote? Lots of questions. Regardless, this wasn't originally part of the deal and would probably be more work than the initial project. So I tell him, we can discuss that, but first I'll need to be paid for the work I already did. This might seem a little cold to some, but let me describe it like this. You go to have your oil changed, pop out, and when you come back out you say, thanks, but I'd like you to paint my car too. I'll come back and pay you for everything later when you're done. Yeah, no. So Jim responds like a robot by saying, here's an audio file with the piano part on it. Can you add that? Thanks. Attached is an audio file with long gaps between the songs, and it sounds as if it were recorded on a phonograph under the ocean in 1920. Yet again, I reiterate myself and tell him that transcription, writing down the sheet music from an audio file with no prior music written for it, wasn't initially discussed, and it would be a higher rate added on top. And that is true. Transcription work is very, very time-consuming, even if you are adept at it. So Jim disappears for a day or two. So I reach out to email him to sternly remind him that he needs to pay me before he can begin to discuss altering the files and adding transcription onto everything. How many files did I have you do again? 3? Jim asks. What, was I born yesterday? No, 4, I said. You know, the 4 files that are attached in this email chain that we are reading that you can see with your own eyeballs? Sorry, I forgot, la la la. Jim laughs. Haha. Jim disappears again for a few days. After emailing him again, Jim drops the transcription ordeal on his own accord and says, so, an even $100, right? After correcting him, Jim goes silent. Now, this was an off-the-book thing with someone, but I realized that I probably could have been way more proactive. Or maybe since we didn't sign an agreement or anything, you could say, fuck me, I'm screwed and it's my fault. I get that. It's more that this was acquaintance that I had known for years, and like I said, I foolishly gave him the benefit of the doubt. Also, it made for an interesting story. So, about 2 months later, ironically on my birthday, Jim surprises me, lucky me, by paying me $100 on Facebook Messenger. At this point, I wasn't quite as worried with money, and I knew this guy was going to continually jerk my chain, so I just let it go. I guess strike 3 for me, but at this point I said, fuck it. So I wrote, thanks, I guess. I always stick by my word, Jim writes. Oh, okay. How are some people like this? Fast forward about 6 months, and guess who has the absolute audacity to contact me again? Yeah, this time he says something along, hey, those charts I had you do were for a Christmas pageant I'm writing. I attached a file for you. Could you transcribe the entire file? Just for shits and giggles, I open the file. It's 90 minutes. 90 minutes. To put this in perspective, a 5-minute audio recording could take a few hours, a few days, even over a week to transcribe given the complexity. But 90 minutes is crazy. It's not unheard of, but it's an extremely huge amount of work that would take ages. Something you wouldn't willy-nilly ask of someone. This would probably be a sit-down sort of thing. Now, I have no intention of working with this person, but just for my own morbid curiosity, I asked him, 90 minutes? Do you know how long that will take? When would you even need this by? 2 weeks, Jim responds. Maybe that's possible with a team of transcribers, but I don't know if that's even really possible by myself unless I work tirelessly day in and day out. I'll also need you to write an overture, a track day, exit music, scene change music, and then orchestrate and write band parts for everyone and make sheet music for all of that. So basically, write and engrave an entire musical in 2 weeks. Loony! This is ludicrous amount of work that would take months, normally covered by a large group of people. Okay, I'll need $16,000, I say. Probably a highballing for what the production will actually be, but not far off at all for other projects. I don't have that, but I'll pay $600, Jim says. Now, I'm just kind of amused by this. $600 won't even cover the transcription, I said. Well, I'm paying for this out of pocket, Jim says. I really need this done in 2 weeks. Okay, that'll be $16,000. Look, I really need this done, Jim says. I'm paying out of pocket. Well, I can't help you there. I really need this done. I need this work done. Nobody is funding it but me. Okay, great. I don't know you anything. Actually. So he basically wanted me to write an entire musical that he could slap his name on in 2 weeks. Ha! It's almost like if somebody comes up to you and says, Hey, I have a circus I'm putting together, Jim's Circus. I have the tent already, but I'm gonna need you to come up with the animals, performers, and everything else by tomorrow. I'm also going to need you to find an investor so we can pay everyone's salaries. I'll pay you in coupons to the snack bar. I really need this done. So after a little more interesting back and forth, or more or less politely tell Jim he's SOL and honestly insulting, and should be really careful about the way he goes about framing things in the future, because bigger groups of people, or those with a more professional clientele, would effectively blacklist him for this kind of behavior. Jim pulls the whole, we worked together, I got you started spiel. I told him good luck on his Christmas pageant. Yeah, all you're getting for Christmas is fucked. Sorry, that was probably really obnoxious. I don't care. I missed you guys. How you guys doing? I already asked that, but I really want to know. So I don't think I'm going to do another episode this week. I think I might have to be messing with a little bit, a few more settings on my computer. But, yeah, give me some time. I think I'll start posting again regularly next week, so stay tuned for that. Don't forget to comment below. Smash that like button if you enjoyed this video. I really hope you did. Thank you guys so much for watching. And don't forget to subscribe and turn on all notifications for future videos just like this one. As always, the links to these stories will be in the comments below, so head on over to Reddit and show those posters some love with some upvotes. You know they deserve it, my dudes. And I will see you in the next episode. Peace out, my dudes.